played a lot during those 4 preseason games. Just what do you feel like you guys got out of that as a team?
Understanding who we are, our identity, what we stand for, as a defensive mastermind of a team, trying to make sure that we understand everything, all the rotations, next man up mentality, going out there with different lineups, different people, just understanding no matter who's out there, understanding your role.
What is the identity of this team?
Making sure, defense first. Defense is going to be our best weapon. Going out there and showing that we're going to be the aggressor, we're going to punch first. And even if people try to punch first, we're still swinging. No matter if they're hitting us first, we're hitting them.
Where do you get a sense of what the focal point will be between now and the start of the season?
Just taking time. You just work out the little kinks. We've been able to watch film, been able to study our own mistakes, our own mess ups, and just learning from them. No matter if it's all of us being on the same page, no matter if it's us scrambling and competing for one another, making sure we have each other's backs, or just picking each other up. No matter if you're making a shot or missing a shot, you're encouraging your teammate.
What are some of the advantages of having that tall ball lineup you guys got?
There's a lot of things you can see on the floor, a lot of different ways you can use mismatches, a lot of different ways, we can be strong out on the defensive end and not have to worry about it, no matter if it's me out there, AD out there, PJ or Coop, because we got a bunch of people behind them, making sure that they are up into the ball, giving pressure, and that they're confident.
Frank was obviously around the team last year, but a little bit different role for him this year. What are just the main things he's telling y'all defensively?
He's really just showing us how good and how strong we are and have a capability of being a great defensive team. He's showing us, all the things that instead of taking 3 steps, we could take 1 step. So it's just understanding of where we are, what we're trying to do, and understanding that if whatever we're doing, just do it with 100% effort. And if you get it wrong, you still did it with 100% effort.
I asked about the team's focus. What has your focus been, pretty much, off season and then into training camp?
Getting stronger for sure. Being able to make sure that I'm making my free throws, being as efficient as I possibly can down below, and being a passer. I'm trying to explore, different ways that I can get my teammates open so that it can make my job easier, on the offensive end. Finding little ways where I can insert myself in the offensive end while either finding holes underneath the rim or just finding the trail spot. That's either coming down to me shooting 3, me playing out of the 5 position, or just finding ways to get my teammates open.
Ever since you was a little kid, it seems like we've been saying the Western Conference is stacked. How stacked is it this year, and how do the Mavs stack up against it?
It's definitely stacked. You gotta love the competition. You gotta love that. We're in the toughest side of the NBA. So no matter what night it is, you got to bring your A game. You got to be as focused and as locked in as possible.
Anybody in particular that's more stacked or as stacked as the Mavericks?
I wouldn't put a star on anybody. Each team is going to bring their best players, no matter if it's the best player or the 15th player playing. Everyone's an NBA player, so we got to go up against every team with the same respect and show them that who we are.
The preseason gave you more reps to play next to Anthony Davis against other competition. Just what are some of the things that you're learning about how to effectively play off of him, and what do you think could still grow, like with you two on the floor?
Just understanding, no matter if it's on the offensive side or the defensive side, just understanding where we are. Understanding if he's low, if I'm low, or if I'm high and he's high, just understanding we got each other's backs. And wherever he goes, I'm following the opposite. Understanding that there's going to be probably multiple double teams or triple teams coming to him. And I got to make sure I'm his outlet. I'm going to make sure that, there's times where he's going to get the ball multiple possessions. Look, take a play off. We got you on this one. Trying to make sure that he is able to stay in the game for as long as possible, make things easier on him and allow him to open up for his teammates. He's out there trying to understand what we all are seeing on the floor, and, it's been a great team communication-wise, as I'm trying to say.
In what ways have you tried to help Cooper?
No matter if it's talking to the refs, talking to coaches, no matter if it's talking to players to try to make sure we're all on the same page, or even talking to the coaches of just understanding what we want us to do. No matter if we're supposed to cut and you don't cut, but look, if you don't cut, you can still do A through Z. So just understanding that even if it's a set play, you're not a robot out there. You got to still be a basketball player. No matter if you're cutting, no matter if you're setting the screen for somebody or even coming off the screen. Just do it with a whole lot of effort, a whole lot of just aggressiveness, because it's going to make something open up.
In what ways, maybe off the court or on the court, have you seen Cooper get more comfortable since he arrived?
He's cracking jokes. He's out here, he's in the locker room, he's enjoying himself, no matter if we're in or off the court. He's still the youngest in the gym. He's always trying to crack a joke. He's always trying to, poke fun at the old guys, which is hilarious. But, I make sure he doesn't bring that towards me because I'm not that old. But, he's been great. He seems like he's enjoying Dallas. His family's great, and we're just trying to make him feel as welcome as possible.
Does he have a good joke that you can repeat?
You know, no matter who you is, he's gonna be like, all right, Unc. All right, Unc. But we don't even worry about that. You know, I'll let him call me Unc, you know, once or twice because of my dad, but we letting this slide anymore. And he's always trying to do a little handshake, you know, he's gonna dab you up and then he's gonna, I got you. But it's just bringing that little, just that sort of joy, you know, that sort of just immaturity. It just makes everybody loose. You know, since we had so many old players on the team now, we got to make sure we keep them young.
All right. Since you first started watching the NBA, how have you noticed the game has changed over the years?
The pace, you know, the pace, what the bigs are doing, you know, how no matter what your position is, you got to be a weapon. You know, no matter if you're on the offensive or defensive side, you can't be the one man out, because they're going to either bring you out on the defensive side and go at you, or they're just going to leave you naked in the corner. Mm-hmm. So you got to be able to just do anything on the court. No matter whatever coach asks, you got to either go get a rebound, set a play up for somebody, be able to score the ball, or be able to just do whatever needs to be done. And that's kind of what we've been honing in on, and I think we've done a great job.
The way you're describing Cooper, it's like you a couple years ago.
Hey, you know, I call it how I see it. It definitely, I see myself in him. You know, he's definitely just walking around with all smiles, trying to learn, trying to be a sponge, and I'm proud of him. But at the same time, you know, there's no reason you should call me young. I'm only 3 years old.
Appreciate it.
One more thing. What did you guys learn about yourself, particularly during the time you had all them injuries? You almost had only just 8 players suited up for games.
You know, between last season and the year before, you never know what's going to happen. But you got to be able to weather the storm. No matter if it's game 20, game 50, game 70, or even in the playoffs. It's next man up mentality, bringing as much focus and effort, and try to be the best version of yourself. Because you never know when your time's going to come, and you never know when the team's going to need you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.